I am going to go ahead and put my screen up here. Let's see. Let me go back to the first slide. There we go. Let me know if you can see that. Aha, there it is. Let us know in the comments if you can see my slides and you can hear and see everything. It's funny, I'm getting a notification. Please choose a smaller file. The limit is 50 megabytes. This is I think it's a 3 or 10 gigabyte file. But that just goes to show the amount of work I put in my presentations because there's just so much to cover. AI is the topic of the hour. It's going to change everything as we know it. I'm reading a lot of books about it by physicists and scientists that are very enlightening. And something I read last night, I'm reading 6 books at once. Something I read last night in the book 2084 by John Lennon is that AI will not only change society itself, but the trajectory of history. And we've never had that. We've had the printing press, we've had cars replace horses, we've had tractors augment farmers, but we've never had a technology eruption that is going to change the course of history and society. So those two things are going to be impacted, and that is literally our world as we know it. So let's go back to the more granular topic of marketing. How is this going to affect marketing? And these days I am talking about all of it, because in the end, we're humans, even as marketers and entrepreneurs, and we have to remember that. So I think knowing how AI will not just affect marketing, but our entire life is relevant to you as well. And so that's why you'll see that in everything I'm putting out now, including this talk. So welcome again, and let's go ahead and kick this off. So I want to start with the age we're living in, because like I said, if we set the setting here, I think it's easier to understand just how much of a change this is going to be. And it can be a really good, a really efficient and productive switch for us. I mean, it's incredible, actually. That's why I'm a fan of accelerationism. I'm not a fan of deaccelerating, because I think that when we go full force into this with wisdom, and I'll show you what I mean, I got some tips for you on that, with wisdom and integrity, adapting correctly, I think we can open up entire new worlds. There's people that where English isn't their native language, they can use AI and now become a nearly perfect writer, and that barrier is gone. So we have the ability to get productive and efficient in ways that were not possible till now. So I'll take you back in history a little bit. We're in a brand new technological age right now. In the 1980s, we entered what was known as the digital revolution with the first computer. Then we went into the information age when the internet became widespread and was used all over the world. And that was the 2000s with Yahoo, Google, AOL, the early players in that space. And now, as of the 2020s, we've entered a new age called the AI age, also called the technology age, also called the fourth industrial revolution. And it's going to change everything. So in 2020, Bill Gates published a message in his Gates notes, and he said the age of AI has begun. He actually said that last year in March. The CEO of NVIDIA, who has spoken on the World Economic Forum stages, his name is Jensen Huang. He's actually much of the reason for this acceleration because NVIDIA invented the chips that AI is able to run on. We left an age of generalized computing far behind us. We now have the computing power to run GPT-4 and soon GPT-5 and all of these accelerating competitors like Anthropic, Claude, Gemini, picking up, going from several million data points into the trillions within 12 months. That is insane. So this is simply compute power, the ability to run mass data on a computer. Neural nets, that's how AI, artificial intelligence, LLMs, machine learning, that's how it's built and why it's so good today. Oh, it's crazy. In these books I'm writing, I found out that, we were writing out the picture of a neural net back in the 1940s. We had computer scientists that were drawing it on napkins, and they were thinking of something called thinking machines. And people thought they were crazy. They're like, you're never going to be able to get a computer to mimic a human mind. And that was the 1940s. And now here we are in the 2020s, seeing it happen less than 100 years later. So I want to, first of all, share this, that, you're here, you're a part of this AI day, you're learning about this topic. This is permission granted. There's no one that's going to hand you a manual that says, here's every step on how to use AI, make lots of money and be successful. Granted, there's a lot of books and videos on YouTube. I won't go there. That promise you, millions of dollars. There's actually a book called How to Use ChatGPT to Make Millions of Dollars. That's not what I'm saying, because there are books that exist, but those aren't manuals for how to actually do this, how to do this successfully, because this is the Wild West. We are living in times that are evolving by the minute. And so there's nothing better than for you to get in it and explore it, for you to pick up AI, pick up these softwares, these tools, use the new features that are added to the platforms that you're already using, and really explore it, because that's how you're going to really get into it. So we're in an AI revolution. A year ago, IBM studied 3,000 executives in 28 countries and 21,000 workers, and they found that 40% of the entire workforce will have to reskill in the next 3 years. That's 1.4 billion people. So this is going to affect a major part of the workforce. Now, what exactly is AI? This is a question you might know, but it comes from several things, including machine learning, deep learning. LLMs are kind of in the conjunction of deep learning and NLP, stemming from the science of human language and linguistics. So AI, in short, is the machine's ability to perform cognitive functions that we associate with human minds. So that's reasoning. And of course, there's the hardware and the software side of this. The hardware is human behavior, and the software side is human reasoning. So we have humanoids, right? They can crack an egg now. That's replication of human behavior. And we have AI software that's working in a neural net to replicate the human brain. That's reasoning, thinking like a human. So we've had AI for years. Examples of it would be Siri, Alexa, Google Translate, fraud detection, but we've never had it to a place where we are literally seeing, if we didn't know any better, we're seeing magic unfold. Things that seem utterly impossible, AI is now doing. And that's because we have the computing power, thanks to NVIDIA inventing a new chip for us to run AI on. That's the reason ChatGPT and November of 2022 occurred, and we were able to communicate with AI through a prompt, because we have the computing power to run that kind of capability. And we have a decade of the internet for these LLMs to pull from. So this didn't just drop out of the sky, but what's crazy is the acceleration. The co-founder of Anthropic, an amazing company behind the LLM known as Claude, the co-founder, Dario Amodei, said that things that seemed impossible for AI to do are becoming routine. Less than 2 years from the point of impossibility. That's wild. And so you see this in the releases from big tech companies like Tesla. Back in 2022, they introduced their first humanoid known as Optimus. And you can see it, right? It looks like a bunch of wires. I mean, it still looks pretty cool and innovative. But whenever it walked out on stage, it kept falling down. And so people just ripped it apart. They're like, this is worse than the robot I saw from Honda 20 years ago. The pundits were out that year. And then not even 12 months later, here's that same humanoid, the next iteration of it, breaking an egg, lifting weights, and folding laundry. And Elon Musk said we will even have this thing threading a needle successfully. And he's now deployed it to build Tesla cars. He believes the humanoid market is going to be bigger than the electric car market. So this is what acceleration looks like. And if you look at, can AI actually surpass a human, which is a big question, because this means the impact on our workforce and our economy as we know it. Can we drop cost by putting tasks in the realm of robotics? The answer is yes, we can. So in the early 2020s, actually starting back around 2018, AI surpassed humans at many tasks, including language, common sense, grade school math, putting together code, image recognition, speech recognition. So a lot of the things that we call reasoning, which till now in the history of the world were only done by humans. So AI has surpassed humans, and that study proves it. So, how good is AI? This is a question I asked for years. I was anti-AI. I'll tell you more about that story because I saw article spinners. I saw garbage. And I was like, there's no way this can ever be at a level where I could sell it to my clients as content. Okay, so here's where we're at now. I want to actually read to you 2 different blog hooks. These are the first paragraph within a blog. This is one of your most important pieces of the blog in the 10 years of publishing over 1,000 blogs, most of which I wrote by hand in the good old days. Blog hooks were something I studied as an art and science. If you put them together correctly, and you don't go too long, but you also don't go too short, you can really increase the results you get from one blog. Okay, so that's what a blog hook is. I'm going to read you 2 different ones. I want you to guess, as you hear me read them, as you see it on the screen, I want you to guess which one was generated by AI and which one was written by a human. Okay, so here's the first sample, blog hook A. I'm going to read it. The phrase content marketing is often used as a catch-all definition for all the ways you promote your content strategy. But the reality is that there are numerous content marketing formats, and each one has its own unique benefits. Knowing the different types of content marketing is important because it gives you more options in your digital marketing toolbox. Moreover, it's crucial to understand how to use each one effectively to create a cohesive overall content marketing strategy. A little bit boring. Okay, sample B, blog hook B. We're going to read this one too. Ever feel like you're screaming into the void with your email marketing, crafting perfect emails, but they just tumble into the inboxes of a handful? You're not alone. Many think that creating killer content will automatically grow their subscriber list, if only it were that simple. Truth is, growing an engaged and responsive subscriber base needs a lot more. It's all about being strategic with how you capture and nurture those precious email addresses. Okay, so which one was 100% human, 100% robot? Blog hook A or blog hook B? Which one do you think the robots wrote? A or B? I'd love for you to type it in the chat. Which one was generated by a robot, A or B? Okay, you ready for the reveal? I hope you're all typing it in the chat, either A or B. Here is the answer. Dun, 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 drum roll. Blog hook B was 100% AI. And this exact style is the style that I've studied for years. It follows a specific copywriting formula where we future paint the answer to the problem after we agitate that problem in the intro. So it's a question, and then we confirm that it's a problem. We agitate that problem. We tell them they're not alone. That is the copywriting formula. And what's incredible is that AI can generate unique content inside this formula each time in a way that's more accurate than a human could. And if you're using a single LLM, which we'll talk more about this, you often don't get this layered level of high quality results. So that is the benefit of using a tool like Content at Scale, for example, which is multiple LLMs. You get this without any prompting. So the other blog hook was 100% written by a human blogger back in 2021, the one that had those boring phrases like moreover, it's crucial to understand, none of which you need. Just go into the topic. Here's how to use, is what that should have said. Anyway, I used to be a content coach. Don't mean to rag on a human writer, but that's terrible copy. So boring. So it's crazy, right? To see how effective a human augmented with AI can be. Because what we're seeing is incredible stuff. We're seeing humans save 25 times on their cost and time, pretty insane, with the right AI. So that means they're removing themselves from the work and they're able to do better, more meaningful work. And it's amazing to see that, right? Because I think in particular writers and people that have good ideas are so talented, but they're often mired in the actual writing. And that's just no longer a good use of your time when AI can replace you in that seat. And that's simply amazing. So I come from a background of doing a lot of human writing. I had a human writing agency for 10 years. I sold it in 2021. I did see GPT on the horizon, but I'll tell you, I did not think it would replace me. I truly didn't. And that's why I was on stage a month after ChatGPT came out saying this: AI is garbage. You need to hire a writer. And this was right before 7 other speakers that day that all said, you don't need to hire Julia. Go use AI. And I was like, hold on, people, we're not there yet. So in January, a month later, January 2023, I was able to completely change my perspective on this. And I did. And it's funny because I was invited back to the same stage. So I had a completely different message. And people were like, what the hell happened to you? And it was great because I was able to show them that from the perspective of a realist, which I am, I saw that the times had arrived to where I had to adapt or die. It was literally that serious. My career would have been on the line if I continued to say that humans were better. I literally, people aren't going to make money if they follow that path. They're just not, because AI is so much more efficient. And so the reason I changed my tune was I actually found an AI stack that saved me 7 hours out of an 8-hour task. And that was the long form SEO blog that I wrote, that I studied, that I've written books on for the last 10 years. But to humanly write that piece of content that would rank in the top of Google, get you customers, get you results, get you opt-ins, all of the amazing things that happens from a #1 position in Google, well, that took at least 8 hours. And so to shave 7 hours off of that is incredible. So that's why I was able to tell people, hey, there's an answer. And it is found in the world of AI. So there was only one tool. I tested so many that didn't do these things that were very important to me. And this is why I didn't jump on board quickly. For one, sharing proprietary data was a big concern, right? I have had clients back when I had a writing agency and then consulted the year after that didn't want their proprietary data going out into the world. In fact, I had to sign NDAs before they gave me what I needed to write that content. Some of this was new technology, specific products, trademarked frameworks. And so they didn't want that going to the world. They just wanted that to go to their writer. Now, if you know the nature of LLMs, when you prompt it, that prompt is public data. It feeds the LLM. So that was a big concern for me. As you know, or you may have heard, may not have heard, Samsung actually banned ChatGPT from all their computers of their employees. They just banned it. Couldn't even go to the website because of that problem. They had an employee that shared proprietary data without thinking. And so some code got out that shouldn't have. So that is a real problem, especially with serious companies that have proprietary data to protect. The second point, undetectable, unique, original content is so important. How can you put your author name on something if it's regurgitated crap? It's, yeah, especially with a reputation to uphold. I couldn't do that. So I needed an AI that met each of these points of criteria. And then the last one, did the actual work, did the research, wrote 2,500 plus word in-depth pieces of content. So there was one that did all of that within 5 minutes. Blew my mind, still blows my mind today. Can't believe this exists, but here we are. And the tool that I recommend, get behind, and now work for, because I pitched the founder, can I come work for you? This thing is so brilliant. And now I'm fully in AI. So that's all thanks to Content at Scale, which really revolutionized the SEO blogging game for me and still is. We have 3,000 users producing 50 million words a month. It's just wild. So if you're asking yourself, this is a big question. Will my boss allow me to use AI? Will my client allow me to use AI? That point is moot. I'll probably delete this slide 3 months from now because we don't even need to be talking about it. But Capterra did do a study, and they found that over 80% of marketers, as of 2022, actually, not only see that AI is the key to the future of marketing, but they know that AI-generated content can actually meet the standards of a human. So your clients, your boss, they should know this. And if they don't, I would encourage you to bring this to their awareness. And what's interesting, I see this use case in so many scenarios because we work with a lot of agencies and founders that are reselling this LLM stack as a service. So whenever they go to their clients, the question they get is, well, what does the content look like? Is it original? Is it good? If I give you proprietary data, is that going to go out to the world? right? So it's really important to evaluate the tools you use and know this is a tool that my boss or my client will actually approve. So make sure you're looking at, for example, the code of ethics of these tools, the marketing. Are they saying things that are accurate? It's crazy because there's so many AI tools out there that I studied, interacted with, and a lot of the marketing was a replication of what OpenAI says. And that's when you know it's just an API call to a single LLM. Might as well go use ChatGPT. So evaluate the tools you use, look at the benefits that you get, look at the time savings, and it's a much easier pitch. And I can tell you, your boss or client really doesn't care. They care about results. And AI is not a taboo thing anymore. So back in the day, the old human writers days, I'm kidding. There's still human writers. They're using AI. They're getting ahead. But back in the day when we did content humanly only, I thought we did a lot of words. We did 10 million words per year. Now what I'm seeing for the same type of output, which is large scale content marketing, built to grow a website, built to bring in masses of traffic, whether it's the 100,000 organics a month, all the way up to millions. That's what people are doing with content at scale. They're achieving that. So 5 years of content in 1 month. That's the kind of output we can now do with AI. That's insane. That means we can literally collapse time and achieve our goals so much more quickly. So this is what an SEO content marketing campaign looked like back in the day of humans only, unaided with AI, before the technological singularity. So to do 100 pieces a month, which was what you really needed to do to drive mass traffic, anywhere from like 70 to 100 was what we saw. And these were the campaigns that I did in my agency. You needed a lot of people. Just on the writer side alone, you needed at least 10 writers. And that's if you got lucky and you found 10 good writers. Sometimes we went through 20, 30, 40, because writing is hard. It's arguably one of the hardest creative tasks you can do. I mean, my brain hurts after 4 or 5 pieces of content. I have to stop for the day. So it's hard work. And that piece was so hard to do. So now it's crazy. It's crazy what I get to see actually working on the inside of an AI company that is solving a major, major need. And what I'm seeing is one human paired up with the AI can match all of these steps, the strategy, the research, the writing, the optimizing, and the distribution. And you don't need more than one human paired up with this AI to achieve 100 pieces of content a month. And I'm telling you, it sounds unbelievable, right? If we go from like how many humans here, at least 10, at least 12, sometimes 25, from that to just one, and we're achieving the same output. And sometimes I've seen case studies, I've been on calls with marketing directors where the content they say is better because of how in depth the AI can research and put together better, more researched material. So it's crazy, but this is what we can achieve. We can simplify everything. We can decrease headcount. We can decrease HR stress. It's pretty amazing. So these are what I call the elephants in the room when it comes to AI. I don't think we're talking about these enough. And if we do, there's not really clear answers. There's a lot of opinions. And of course, I have opinions. You can tell, right? I'm not saying I don't. I'm a human. But what I've tried to do is give you the most objective answer I can find after researching. So let's talk about all of them. Let's start with the first one. Do you actually own the copyright of anything if you're using AI to generate content? So copyright law requires that a work is original and humanly generated to qualify for protection. So it has to be human. It has to be a human work. There has to be human original creativity involved. If there's not, you can't really copyright it. And that's why we teach something called the AIO approach, where we have the human, the writer, in the seat of the optimizer. And just like I showed you, taking the head count down from 25 humans for a mass traffic campaign where you're doing 100 pieces of content to seriously grow your site traffic. So to go from 25 humans down to 1, that is this approach. You still have one person in the seat of running the AI, checking that content, and that helps you basically enter that realm of potentially copyrightable content. If you have a human editing that content, you still get to own it. So I teach this framework called C.R.A.F.T, and it's just a very simple series of steps where writers are cutting the fluff. They're reviewing what the AI generated. They're adding images, visuals, YouTube embeds, they're fact checking, and they're trust building. Now, I'll tell you something. What's crazy is because AI has gotten better and better, especially the AI platform I get to be a part of, Content at Scale, which is building multiple technologies as multiple layers before you even get your output so that you don't do any work at all. What I'm seeing is AI is able to do each of these steps too, to the point where I generated a piece of content, I want to say 4 or 5 days ago, and I didn't edit a single thing. And that felt so friggin' weird because till now, I've kind of prided myself on the hard work I put in content, right? It's like there's old poetry about this. Blood, sweat, and tears. You sit at the typewriter and you bleed. So that's the picture in our minds, but I'm telling you, the picture is old. If you're doing that, that is the Stone Age. You don't have to do that anymore. So it's pretty incredible to see even AI cut the fluff, review the content, optimize it automatically, add images, visuals, takeaways, break up the content, do the actual fact checking, go find the sources, link to them, and then trust build with quotes from experts. And I'm telling you, Content at Scale's AI is doing all of that without any human intervention. It is insane. So here's the next elephant. Should we label AI content as AI content? That's another big question I've seen especially come from major publications, big corporations that have a lot on the line when they publish content. So I actually published an article on this, Meta, on Search Engine Land, AI generated content, to label it or not to label it. And what I found after doing research is, for one, we need to think about what do the platforms care about that we're publishing content for. So Google owns 80% of the world's online traffic. That is where they start. They start with the Google search. It's kind of embedded into our culture. I don't think even AI is going to shift that. AI will impact how we use Google, but it won't take us away from Google, and that's search. Okay, so all that to say, what does Google care about? They care that your content serves the end user. That's what they care about. So if your content is crafted, even if you're using AI to do all of those steps, why would you label it AI content? Because that could negatively affect how people see it. So labels could actually detract from your written content. If you're double checking it before it goes out, even if that's a 2-minute scan, because AI is generating content so perfectly, like the blog post I generated a few days ago, couldn't believe it. All the steps in craft were even done to perfection. So even if we're there, but we're scanning it before we publish, I still don't think we need to put AI generated as a label on our content. And it's interesting, right? Because if you look at video, if you look at audio, there's the potential for deep fakes and the manipulation of a human voice. And that's a whole different animal. I mean, we're seeing it, approaching elections. And so we're seeing this in the news, deep fakes. And that's why platforms like TikTok, even YouTube Creator Studio, they've launched AI generated labels that they're making creators add to their content. So when it comes to video, audio, where you're replicating a human face and a human voice, that is a whole different animal. And I think we're going to see that continue to happen as, unfortunately, deepfakes kind of enter society, and there has to be some kind of regulations made. But for written content, if your goal, is to rank in Google and you're putting out good content, even with AI, you don't need to label it. It just detracts. Okay, so how will Google's AI and search affect the entire internet as we know it? Will the internet blow up? Is SEO dead? That went off the cliff on purpose, because you'll see that in headlines. You see this so often. So as I said earlier, Google brings in 80% of the world's online traffic. 8 billion searches a day are occurring in Google, and more people get online every day and search. We're picking up a percentage of the world every single day, and it's going to Google search. So every site I've built or have been a major part of, it heavily depends on Google for traffic. This is just the route I've gone for building income to businesses. And if we take a step back, before that income, traffic, right? You need traffic and then you get revenue. So this is what we're doing. With our AI writer, we are building masses of traffic to our site organically. This was fall of 2023. Our traffic grew by about 6 times that year, from 100,000 visitors a month all the way up to 600,000 and then 700,000 uniques per month. And that was organic SEO traffic from Google. So we achieved that last year with our AI SEO writer. We published content and it ranked. It caused our site to go up. But let's look at Google search and how AI in search is going to affect our website clicks. That's a big question. If we know we can use AI content, right, to grow our websites, well, how is AI content in search going to impact the results of that content? So I'll take you through a really quick timeline of Google launching SGE, Search Generative Experience, which is AI in search. And a lot of people were disappointed by how the experience landed after they announced it. There was a lot of duplicate content, and even worse, there was a lot of swiping from publishers without attribution, which is really annoying, especially if you're the one they swiped from, me. Really annoying to see your entire blog in Google SERPs without any attribution. But as time has gone on, they've been fixing these problems. And Google can't afford just to swipe publisher content without a citation. In 2022, their ad revenue was over $200 billion. 58% of that came from search. So Google knows that people value the input of other people. Google knows that when we search Google, we want the opinion, we want the answer, we want the fact from a real human, even if that real human used AI to help give us that answer. And so that's why Google built SGE to serve as a jumping off point that would help people immerse into more relevant content. And what's interesting, whenever you run searches now and you look at what Google is putting up there in SGE, a lot of niche sites are earning those placements, not traditional high volume publisher sites that are irrelevant and they just hit every topic because they have domain authority. So niche sites that stick to a clear topic are winning more than ever because of this shift in Google. Why is this? In December of 2022, Google launched an extra E in EAT. EAT is the acronym they use for their page quality rating guidelines, and it stands for experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trust. This is what they look at whenever they're ranking a page in Google. Does it meet the criteria? So Google actually has examples whenever you look at what do they mean by experience as a factor in ranking. So they're looking for content created by people with a wealth of personal experience. If you have this random byline from somebody that has no background experience, won't do much. But if you have an expert actually publishing content, again, even if they used AI to publish that content, but that person actually has a human history of being an expert in that topic, your site will rank better more quickly. What would you trust? Google asks. A product review from somebody who has actually used the product, or a review from somebody who has not. So then that speaks about personal experience versus like the background of personal experience. So if you're talking about a restaurant, did you actually go there? Even if you used AI to generate that article, do you have pictures that you humanly took? Right? So those kinds of things can set you apart in search. And Google has all kinds of examples, including like, if you are reading an article about how to skydive, that person should have actual experience skydiving. If you're publishing content on the topic of cooking, don't offer tax forms on that website. Topical authority is key. And then trustworthiness. And the example that Google gives is customer service information on a checkout page. So like, do you have a refund guarantee? Do you have a way to contact the customer service team? Things like that. Those impact rankings. So this also touches not just your website. Experience touches social media and forum discussions. And Google said this back in December of 2022. And now we're seeing Reddit play into search, which is interesting, which qualifies as a type of forum. So when people are sharing their experience in social media and forum discussions, Google says that's considered high quality, firsthand experience. So they're even looking at social here. So I do a lot of case studies with our users at Content at Scale. It's my favorite thing to see what's working. And these two people are amazing. They run a website called Hawaii Guide that covers how to travel Hawaii and be informed. And so what they were able to do was rank at the top in SGE. You can see up here, generative AI, that piece above the fold. And their blog was actually ranking up in the carousel, and it was the first blue link. So they got more placements because of AI in search. They're actually getting more clicks. Now, whenever I ask them, how did you generate that piece of content? AI helps them achieve that. So they're using Content at Scale in particular and generating these long form pieces of content, doubling their content output and achieving a 30% growth. And we have so many amazing case studies. Another one is Troy Erickson. He just sold copywriting.org actually for a large sum of money, and he grew that domain very quickly. In just 1.5 months, he published 70 articles, and it wasn't him. He didn't even touch it. He had one SEO person running the AI machine and doing everything. Right. So when I showed you that graph earlier, we can go from a person needed for strategy, a person needed for distribution, 5 people needed for writing, on, publishing, managing it. So we can go from that to one person paired with an incredible AI built for that goal of ranking well in Google. So he was able to do this, didn't even manage it himself, had an SEO person do it, and grew that site incredibly fast. We also have an amazing case study from somebody named Marcus Campbell. He runs a YouTube channel called Affiliate Marketing Dude. He teaches affiliate marketing. He sells things through a ton of websites that he owns. He's always testing stuff. So he published over 1,000 blogs straight out of AI, Content at Scale AI, with no human edits whatsoever. Sorry, 95% of those were 0 human edits. 5% were humanly edited. And he was able to see these blogs rank for insane amounts of search volume per month. Some of these keywords actually had 17,000 searches a month. And he was ranking at the top. So what we're seeing is incredible. Results and time saved. And I mentioned 25x at the beginning of this. And whenever you study what an agency can do, an agency that's both doing content for themselves and doing content as a service, it's incredible. And I'll tell you, sometimes I wish I was running my content agency still, because this is how I would do it. I would totally run a much slimmer team and have a lot less stress, because when you can augment one human that loves what they do and just make them 25 times more efficient, then I think it just becomes a much more enjoyable business model to run. You know, with 100 humans in my writing agency, it always felt like things were on fire. And so I think AI can really solve that core deliverable. So if you're an agency, if you're an agency owner, if you sell content and do it for yourself, that's where you can really, really win with AI. So I saw this agency that I jumped on a call with, helped them learn all about how to adapt, you know, that idea of AIO, putting one writer in the seat of optimizer. So they went from paying $1,800 a month just to get 10,000 words from a content agency to paying $1,500 a month for 250,000 words. And whenever I say 250,000 words, we're talking about these long form pieces of content that would typically take a writer a lot of steps to complete, right? That 2,500 word blog. So that was a literal 25x reduction on the cost, and they got better content. And if you scan that QR code, that is the SOP I wrote for them. It's the AIO Writers Work Sprint. So it's just like, it's very short bite-sized videos from me of how to actually edit the content. And what's crazy, I'm realizing as of the update 7 days ago, like the writer doesn't really need to do anywhere near the amount of work I recommend in that SOP, which is amazing.
Julia, just a little, I'm just coming here for a second. First, on your last slide with the QR code's not working. It says that campaign is over. So if you can update that, we are going to share these slides anyway so people can scan it afterwards and get everything.
If you want to tell them in the comments, the URL is continentscale.ai/SOP. That'll get you there.
Perfect. So if you guys on the moderation could write down, please. And Julia, just the last thing, can you please summarize a little bit? I know that it's only a few slides left, but we are running out of time. I'm like here on the edge of the seat listening and like making notes, and I'm loving it, but we are short on time. So can you please just wrap it up a little bit?
Sure will.
Thank you so much.
Yes, great point. Yes, so let's do that. Let's see. I'm just seeing how many. Okay, yeah. We'll go through these real quick here because I know we have a full day and lots more to get through. Yes. So yeah, just to summarize, we need to think about what does Google care about? They care about high quality content. They don't care if you're using AI or not, even though you might see something else in headlines. That's just simply not true. Google's actual guidelines say what we care about is original high quality results. And in March, they actually launched a massive update to combat spam. A lot of people think that they can copy and paste straight out of ChatGPT, and that's going to get them to #1 in Google. It just simply isn't, because you need to do so much background research. And that's why I always recommend Continent Scale's SEO AI Writer Rank Well, which not only generates the content, but it looks like this, where you'll actually get sources, the link to those sources. You'll get quotes from experts relevant to that article, legitimate quotes that they've actually said, and you'll get everything inside an editable dashboard with all your SEO tools on the right. I wish we had more time and I could show you how it works because it's truly amazing. But that's one way, a major way to future-proof yourself against all of these Google updates that are actually cracking down on a lot of spam. So if you make your content EAT friendly, you can use AI and you will be safe. All the spam updates will not affect you if your content is EAT friendly. And AI can actually do all of these steps. We can deploy it to cut the fluff, to review the content, to add images, to fact check, to trust build. Pretty amazing. And don't forget this, when you publish content, people buy from people they trust. So that's why you always need to be present. Never let AI replace you as a marketer, but use it to augment and replace yourself doing all the mundane work you didn't want to do anyway. So you can actually show up more for your customers. That's what I'm doing. I'm using AI so I can be present, giving talks like these instead of stuck writing blogs all day. And then don't use the wrong AI for SEO growth. A single LLM is just not going to cut it. It won't do all the real-time research. It won't assemble the right keywords for that piece of content. Those are steps in the SEO workflow that you need to find AI inside of a tool stack able to do. And that's a much different thing. So, as we wrap, we hear a lot that AI is coming to kill us. There's a Skynet perception. But the other flip side of this is that AI can really make this a better world if we allow it to make us more efficient as humans. And if we choose to use it, that's where we will not lose. I think the people that will lose are the people that are still gripping, like that picture on the left, they're still gripping their human typewriters going, I still want to do this humanly. That is the biggest risk. We have to adapt. We have to find those safe ways to adapt, the right ways to adapt, the right toolkits, the right AI tool stacks. And then that's when things will really work. So your ability, assisted by AI, can get you to your goals 25 times faster. That's what I want to leave you with today. This can really work. It can really get you to the next level. And I'd love to invite you to check out continentscale.ai. We do have a special offer where you can get started for just $15. If you go to continentscale.ai/pricing, you can jump on that $15 trial today. That'll get you a 7-day full access trial to Rankwell, which is our AI SEO writer. And it does an amazing job at putting together long form content to help you rank. So continentscale.ai/pricing will get you straight to that trial for $15. I'll pass it back to you, Bianca, for questions.
right now we actually don't have time for questions.
No,
I'm
no, sorry, people.
but we have a plan. If you can join the comment section and reply to them there on your profile, it will be great because people like they're making questions. I see that they're like involving, engaging with each other. So that's amazing. I'm just going to ask you to repeat the URL again, please, so I can write it down. It's content@scale.io AI.
You got it.
Of the code,
ConstantScale.ai.
but for the
Yes.
QR code.
For the QR code, ConstantScale.ai for /SOP. And then, and I can actually add that in the chat as well.
Yeah, it will be
I just
great because my computer just stopped working.
always, right when you need
Yes,
instant
like it's
results.
not writing. But if you can leave here in the comments, it will be great. Julia, thank you so much. It was a
Yes, thank
pleasure having you
you.
here. I love the presentation. I was here in the backstage, like shocked at some point. So
Oh,
thank you
good.
so much.
Oh, so glad to
It's
hear that.
amazing.
Well, I appreciate you putting this together. I'm sorry we ran over for no questions. I'll see if I can hop in the comments here. It's not letting me drop a comment, but oh my gosh, we got some amazing people in the
Straight on
comments.
YouTube, you can comment there. Here
Okay.
on the platform that we're using, it's not quite possible. But if you hop on YouTube, it's there. You can leave your comments, and that's gonna be perfect.
Perfect. Will do.
Already, your material is already on the comments. Love it.
Yes, you people are on it today. I love it.
Yeah.
Your thinking caps on. Well, it's great to be here. Thank you so much again.
Thank you, Julia. We see you.